Today, FBI reaches out to residents during Nancy Guthrie investigation.
Good evening. At 11:47 p.m., a woman vanished from her home in the Catalina foothills of Arizona. Nancy Guthrie, 63 years old. No signs of struggle. No forced entry. Just gone. Within hours, a message appeared. Then another. And investigators would soon discover that this was not a random abduction. This was calculated. This was controlled. And what they uncovered in the days that followed would expose a network so vast, so deeply embedded in law enforcement and state government, that the entire region would need to be rebuilt from the ground up. This is what happens when an entire law enforcement infrastructure gets compromised from the inside. When the system designed to protect you becomes the weapon used against you. This is the story of Operation Phantom Shield, the largest internal infiltration by organized crime ever documented on American soil. Let me take you back to Saturday night. 11:47 p.m. Skyline Drive and Campbell Avenue, Tucson, Arizona. The Catalina foothills neighborhood sits quiet, desert wind moving through the streets. Distant highway noise, mostly silence. Nancy Guthrie is home alone. Her family is out of state. She locks her doors. She sets her alarm. Standard routine. Around midnight, her security system receives a ping. Not a breach. Just a notification. Someone with a code is disarming it. Not from outside, from inside, from the panel in her hallway. Within 4 minutes, she is gone. By 2 a.m., the first call comes in. A family member notices her phone is off. Unusual. Calls the Pima County Sheriff's Department. By 3:15 a.m., deputies arrive at the house. Front door is locked. Back door is locked. Windows intact. Inside, everything is normal. Except Nancy Guthrie is not there. Then they see it. On the kitchen counter. A handwritten note. The deputies photograph it immediately and radio it upstairs to command. The note reads, "We have your family member. We want $5 million. You have until Monday, 2 p.m. Do not call the media. Do not call the FBI. If you do, she dies. Instructions will follow. Burn this note." But the family does not burn it. They call the FBI immediately. And that is when everything changes. By dawn on Sunday, the FBI's Phoenix field office deploys 72 agents to Tucson. They establish a command post at the Pima County Sheriff's Department headquarters. They secure the house. They pull all surveillance footage from the neighborhood. And they find something disturbing. On the Circle K footage, 3 blocks from Nancy Guthrie's home, a vehicle pulls up at 11:52 p.m. A gray Toyota Camry. Arizona license plate. The driver gets out, walks inside, buys nothing, returns to the car. Sits for exactly 4 minutes. Then drives north on Skyline Drive. The timing is precise. Too precise. This was not random. FBI lead investigator Special Agent Marcus Reeves, stationed in Tucson for 12 years, briefs the task force at 7 a.m. His voice is steady, but you can hear the tension underneath. "This is not a kidnapping for ransom," Reeves says. "This is a message. Someone wanted her. Someone knew her schedule. Someone knew her security system. This is inside knowledge." The FBI's cyber forensics team, flown in from Phoenix, begins analyzing the ransom note itself. Handwriting, paper composition, ink analysis. Within hours, they discover something that stops everyone. The handwriting matches samples from internal Pima County Sheriff's Department memos. Specifically, memos written by Captain Gerald Valdez, a 28-year veteran, head of the Sheriff's Operations Division, a man with access to every active case file. Every ongoing investigation. Every undercover operation. Captain Valdez is pulled from his home at 9:43 a.m. on Sunday. He is cooperative. Too cooperative. He denies everything. But when agents search his garage, they find the gray Toyota Camry. The tires match impressions found near the Guthrie home. His cell phone location data puts him 2 blocks from her house at 11:38 p.m. He breaks at 2:17 p.m. on Sunday. After 6 hours of questioning, Captain Gerald Valdez admits he did not act alone. He was paid $100,000 by someone higher up, someone with political power, someone with cartel connections running through 3 states. That is when the investigation expands exponentially. By midnight Sunday, the FBI has frozen the bank accounts of Valdez and pulls his financial records for the past 5 years. What they find is staggering. 23 separate wire transfers, totaling $4.2 million. Coming from shell corporations registered in Delaware. Companies with names like Borderland Agricultural Solutions, Crimson Logistics Incorporated, Desert Spring Enterprises, Every transfer is disguised as consulting fees or contractor payments. But they all lead back to the same source. An account controlled by Governor Marcus Castellane. Marcus Castellane, 68 years old, two-term Arizona governor, Harvard Law graduate, respected conservative leader. A man who, to the outside world, has devoted his career to border security, fighting drugs, and strengthening law enforcement. But for the past 9 years, he has been running something else entirely. A parallel criminal enterprise. Working directly with the Salazar cartel, one of the most violent drug trafficking organizations ever documented. The Salazar cartel, based in Sinaloa, Mexico, controls cocaine, heroin, and fentanyl distribution across the Southwest. They move 20 tons of narcotics per week across the Arizona border. 20 tons. And they needed infrastructure. They needed silence. They needed a state government that would protect them. They found it in Marcus Castellane. By Monday morning, at 5:43 a.m., FBI agents, DEA teams, ICE investigators, and SWAT units converge on multiple locations across Arizona. 47 simultaneous raids. The coordinated strike is called Operation Phantom Shield. At 6:02 a.m., 30 federal agents in tactical gear breach the governor's mansion in Phoenix. They move through the corridors like shadows. Flashbangs detonate on the third floor. Governor Castellane is removed from his bedroom. He does not resist. He is still in his pajamas when they place the handcuffs on him. While this happens, other teams are moving across the state. In the desert outside Wilcox, Arizona, agents raid what appears to be a standard agricultural warehouse. What they find inside is a fentanyl superlab. 8,000 square feet of operation. Industrial pill presses. Fentanyl powder in 50-pound containers. 2.1 million counterfeit oxycodone pills stamped with brand logos. Enough to kill 4.2 million people. The warehouse managers try to run. 2 are caught. 1 is shot. Non-lethal. Both are arrested. In a residential neighborhood in South Tucson, agents raid a house that serves as a cartel coordination hub. Inside, they find servers, encrypted communication equipment, master ledgers detailing drug movement, money laundering, and law enforcement payoffs. There are names, lots of names: Federal Border Patrol agents, state police captains, court clerks, city councilmen, 47 individuals on the cartel payroll. 47 people wearing uniforms designed to protect the public while working for the Salazar cartel. In the Tucson port of entry, CBP agents storm an administrative building and arrest the port director, fictional director Samuel Holt, age 51. His office contains encrypted drives detailing exactly how shipping containers carrying heroin and cocaine were waved through inspection, how weigh stations were closed during cartel convoy movements, how inspection rosters were altered to ensure cartel-friendly officers were on duty. By 9 a.m., over 1,000 federal agents are actively conducting raids. Black Hawk helicopters circle the Arizona sky. The governor is being transported to federal custody, and investigators are just beginning to understand the scope of what they are uncovering. The cyber forensics lab in Phoenix is working in real time. Analysts are cracking encryption on Castellane's personal servers. What emerges is a blueprint, a master plan with a code name, Project Fortress. 9 years of planning, 9 years of infiltration. The document outlines how the Salazar cartel would work with Castellane to make Arizona the permanent distribution hub for cocaine and fentanyl across North America. The plan involves 43 separate components: paying off law enforcement at every level, creating fake drug seizure reports to make it appear enforcement was working while actually protecting shipments, installing cartel-friendly judges in Maricopa County, creating shell companies to launder money through legitimate businesses like restaurants, car dealerships, and logistics firms, using agricultural export licenses to move drugs hidden in grain shipments, establishing migration smuggling networks as cover for human trafficking and drug movement, and most disturbing, recruiting military veterans with combat training to serve as enforcement arms inside Arizona borders. By noon on Monday, federal agents have seized over $700 million in assets, cash, real estate, vehicles, and business interests. They have arrested 73 individuals, including 12 law enforcement officers, 4 judges, 8 city officials, and 5 state legislators. They have recovered 847 kilograms of pure cocaine, 312 kilograms of heroin, and a staggering 78 million fentanyl pills. Fentanyl pills that would have killed tens of millions of people across America over the next 5 years. But Nancy Guthrie is still missing. The investigators know why now. She was collateral. Leverage. Governor Castellane's family had been pressuring him to step down. His wife suspected something. Nancy Guthrie's family was asking questions. The cartel needed insurance. They needed a hostage. So Castellane authorized her abduction. He provided the security codes. He watched it happen. And he was prepared to sacrifice her life to maintain the operation. When confronted with this evidence during interrogation on Monday afternoon, Castellane remains silent for 11 minutes. Then he provides the location: a warehouse in the desert near the New Mexico border, 42 miles north of the town of Benson, Arizona. At 4:17 p.m., a joint FBI and SWAT rescue team arrives at the location. They breach the warehouse. Nancy Guthrie is found alive in a reinforced room, dehydrated, frightened, but alive. She is rushed to University of Arizona Medical Center. She is treated and released 2 days later. But the investigation does not stop, because the real damage goes far deeper than one missing person. The real damage is systemic. Investigators begin examining internal communications, police radio logs, Border Patrol shift rosters, court records. What they discover is a staggering pattern of intentional negligence, a pattern that spells organized sabotage. On Monday, border agents report stopping a truck crossing at the Nogales port of entry. They detect drugs using a K-9 unit. But the shift supervisor, an agent named Fictional Thomas Brennan on cartel payroll, voids the report. The truck is allowed through. 45 kilograms of cocaine inside. A Tucson police captain named Fictional Richard Mora, also on cartel payroll, leaks the location of an active DEA investigation into a major drug house. The house is emptied before agents arrive. Evidence destroyed. 4 tons of methamphetamine gone. On Wednesday, Judge Fictional Patricia Dunmore, cartel-connected, dismisses charges against a major cartel lieutenant due to insufficient evidence, even though confiscated communications directly implicate him in human trafficking of 32 victims. This is not corruption. This is command-level collusion. This is a shadow government designed specifically to protect the Salazar cartel. Honest officers within the department come forward, some with tears, some with anger. These are men and women who believed in their badges, who took oaths to protect their communities. And they discovered their own command structure was working against them. The badge itself had been poisoned. One detective, Fictional Maria Santos, 12 years with the department, describes finding out that a case she had worked for 8 months, investigating a fentanyl distribution ring, was sabotaged from within her own precinct. The suspects were tipped off by her lieutenant. Dozens of users on her city block died from overdose while her lieutenant collected $20,000 a month from the cartel. She breaks down during her statement to federal investigators. The badge I wore, she says, was being used against the people I swore to protect. By Wednesday, the investigation has revealed that the Salazar cartel's distribution network extends across Arizona, New Mexico, southern Colorado, and into Nevada. They move 22 tons of narcotics per week using cartel-controlled trucks painted as commercial delivery services. They use the fake shipping manifests created by corrupt port officials. They time their movements based on intelligence gathered from paid law enforcement officers who adjust patrol grids specifically to create safe corridors. The network moves cocaine from Sinaloa to stash houses in Phoenix. Then it flows east to Albuquerque, then north through Colorado Springs to Denver. From Denver, distribution networks carry it to Minneapolis, Chicago, and New York. The same routes move fentanyl. And both drugs move hidden inside shipments of agricultural products, auto parts, and construction materials using business licenses held by cartel shell companies. How much money flows through this system? $340 million per week. Laundered through restaurants, casinos, real estate transactions, and construction contracts. Governor Castellane personally received $47 million over 9 years. He used the money to build a private compound in northern Arizona. He created a family trust in the Cayman Islands. He bought vacation properties in Costa Rica where cartel leadership could hide if needed. This was not negligence. This was designed. This was architected. This was a complete redesign of the state government to serve one purpose: protect the Salazar cartel's operations. But the scope is even wider. Investigators begin mapping connections north. They discover that fictional Texas State Senator David Hayworth, fictional Nevada Gaming Commissioner Robert Vine, and fictional Colorado Highway Patrol Captain James Pierce are all on the cartel payroll. This network extends across 4 states, possibly 5. The investigation is now officially upgraded to a federal task force level. DEA, FBI, IC, DHS, and ATF are all involved. Director of National Intelligence is briefed. The White House Chief of Staff is notified. By Friday, federal agents have conducted over 240 raids across the Southwest. They have seized $1.2 billion in assets. They have arrested 417 individuals. These include cartel members, corrupt law enforcement, judges, politicians, and business operators. They have recovered 2,847 kilograms of cocaine, 891 kilograms of heroin, and 247 million fentanyl pills. But the numbers do not tell the real story. The real story is told in bodies, in destroyed families, in addicted children, in neighborhoods hollowed out by overdose. The DEA estimates that the fentanyl distributed through this network killed approximately 8,400 people over the past 3 years. 8,400 people. Most of them young. Most of them from lower-income communities. Most of them never knowing that the supply reaching their streets had been protected by their own government. That is the real cost. That is the real damage. Governor Castellane is charged with 43 federal crimes including drug trafficking conspiracy, racketeering, money laundering, murder conspiracy, and treason. The murder conspiracy charges stem from 6 deaths that can be directly linked to his authorization of cartel operations. His bail is denied. He will await trial in federal custody. The Pima County Sheriff's Department is placed under federal oversight. Every officer is revetted. Every case from the past 10 years is reviewed. The sheriff himself, fictional Sheriff Douglas Malone, age 61, is found to have accepted cartel payments and is removed from office pending trial. The Arizona judiciary undergoes a federal review. 13 judges are indicted. 42 judges voluntarily retire rather than face investigation. The entire court system in Maricopa and Pima counties is essentially rebuilt. Border security at the Nogales, Douglas, and San Luis ports of entry is completely restructured. All personnel are re-cleared. New protocols are implemented requiring 3-person verification of all inspections. Technology upgrades including new scanning equipment and surveillance systems are fast-tracked at a cost of $417 million. The Salazar cartel suffers massive damage. Their Arizona distribution network is dismantled. Their money laundering infrastructure is destroyed. Their ability to move drugs through the Southwest is degraded by an estimated 78%. Federal agents capture 3 major cartel leaders, fictional Miguel Carranza, age 44, fictional Luis Dominguez, age 51, and fictional Antonio Reyes, age 38, who are extradited to face trial in San Diego. But here is what is terrifying. The investigation reveals that the Salazar cartel planned this entire operation. They did not infiltrate Arizona by accident. They infiltrated it by design. Project Fortress was their master strategy. They identified a struggling politician, Marcus Castellane, who had political ambition but limited resources. They approached him. They offered him money. They offered him power. And he accepted. Once Castellane was in office as governor, the real work began. He used his authority to hire cartel-friendly people throughout law enforcement. He used his power to ensure judges would be sympathetic. He used his political connections to prevent federal investigations. He turned the entire state into a cartel fortress. A place where the criminal organization could operate with impunity because the government itself was protecting them. This is the future the cartel envisioned. Not violence on the streets. Not obvious corruption. But quiet, systematic, engineered infiltration at the highest levels. A parallel government. A shadow state. Where the people wearing badges worked for the cartel. Where the judges protected cartel interests. Where the governor answered to Mexican narcos instead of American voters. This is what nearly happened to Arizona. Power does not always announce itself with gunfire. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it wears a suit and takes an oath. Sometimes it comes with a handshake and a bank transfer. The most dangerous infiltration is the one you cannot see. The one hidden inside the very institutions designed to protect you. Nancy Guthrie survived her ordeal. She has spoken publicly about her experience. She has advocated for law enforcement reform. She has become an unlikely symbol of resilience in a system that nearly broke her. But the 8,400 people who died from fentanyl distributed through Castellane's protected network did not survive. They did not get a second chance. They did not get a rescue. They got a funeral. Their bodies are in cemeteries across America. In small towns and big cities. In places where their families still do not fully understand why their children died. They died because a governor decided power was more important than duty. They died because 47 law enforcement officers decided money was more important than honor. They died because an entire system was redesigned to protect the business of death. This is Operation Phantom Shield. This is what it means when corruption reaches the level of the executive. This is what it looks like when democracy is hijacked from the inside. The investigation continues. Federal prosecutors are preparing trials that will last for years. The cases against Castellane and the other conspirators are airtight. Confessions exist. Financial records exist. Communications exist. This will be prosecutions that reshape how law enforcement approaches infiltration by organized crime. But the warning is clear now. The threat is clear. And it is not over. If you are watching this, understand something. What happened in Arizona was not unique. It was discovered because Nancy Guthrie was abducted. Because her family called the FBI. Because her case led investigators to uncover something larger. But how many states are being infiltrated right now without an abduction to trigger the investigation? How many regions are being turned into cartel fortresses while federal agencies are looking elsewhere? This is the real story of organized crime in America. Not violence, but infiltration. Not random crime, but systematic planning. Not a cartel operating against the government, but a cartel that has become the government. Share this story. Tap like, comment below. Tell us what you think should happen to protect our institutions from this kind of infiltration. Because if we do not act, if we do not demand accountability, if we do not rebuild the system from the ground up, then somewhere in America tonight, another governor, another police chief, another judge is making the same deal Marcus Castellane made. And another family will pay the price. This has been a fictional dramatization created for storytelling purposes only. The characters, agencies' involvement, and situations described are entirely fictional and not based on real current events or real people. Stay vigilant. Stay informed. Democracy requires it.